guys, I'm here today to do one of my first year-end videos. So I think just for the end of the year, I'm going to have my most disappointing books of 2020, which is this video. I'm going to have my best books of 2020, and then I'm going to do a video with all of the books that I've read and just kind of discuss stats and that kind of stuff. So those should be the big three end of the year videos, and I might do a November, December reading wrap up combined into one, but if I'm doing what I've read in 2020, then maybe not. So I have read so far, I think I can still pull out at least one, maybe two more books read for the year of 2020, but I have read 32 books so far, and I went through the list of those books and I found 4 that I considered to be the most disappointing books out of the ones that I read. Granted, a lot of the books that I did read I enjoyed and I tried to think of it as books that were kind of like hyped books, because some books I just didn't like, but I don't feel like there's like, I just didn't like it. Like, it wasn't a big deal. But some of them I was very surprised that I didn't like. And those are what I'll be talking about in today's video. I don't know what order, or like when I read these, but the first book that I am including in this video is The Bookish Life of Nina Hill by Abby Waxman. I was 100% sure I was going to love this book, because it's about people who like books. Like, the main character should be the definition of me. But I just, I don't know. I thought it was cute. Let me see what I rated it. Honestly, like, I don't remember a lot about the books that I read, which I don't know why. Like, the ones that I loved, I'm like, oh yeah, I know everything about that. But the ones that I'm just like, I don't remember a lot. I rated this a 3-star rating, and I read it in March, and the average rating on Goodreads is 3.83 stars. I feel like I'm gonna need to like look at the synopsis. Okay, so I had to go to my Instagram, or my Bookstagram account, because I was like, it's about books and I didn't love it. That's all I've got. So in my post that I made on Instagram, I talked about that I liked the book elements that were included. I did think that was cute, and like, I liked the fact that she like was a planner type of girl, which I definitely am, and there were like pictures of her planner throughout the book, of what she was doing, what's the date, like, and it connected to what was happening in the story, which I think is cute, because I do think like people that read books, and I'm not trying to put anybody in a box, I don't like when people do that, but like, people that like books a lot of the time are kind of like more like type A, plan it out type of people, I think, a lot of the times. Maybe I'm incorrect, but at least that's how I am. Yeah, but I liked that part of the book, but I talked about how the plot kind of just fell short, that there wasn't like, it was just a lot of skimming over what was happening in the story, and it was just, I wish there would have been more detail, I guess. I don't really remember a lot, which is saying something, because a lot of people love this book, and I know there was like a romance. I don't even remember what the person's name was. Like, I know there was a bookstore. Like, so I mean, that's just saying, like, I had high hopes going into this. I think a lot of the times, and this is like with all of these books, there's just so much hype, and when I read like an overly hyped book, I go into it like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna love this. This is gonna be so good. This is gonna be my all-time favorite book ever. And I just don't. Like, there is so much hype surrounding Daisy Jones and the Sixth by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And I read that last year, and I just look at it and I'm like, I need to get rid of it, because I hate that book. Like, I don't like it. Like, I don't want to read an interview unless it's like a nonfiction book that like the interview is important to the story. But yeah, anyway, side note. So yeah, this was #1 disappointing read of the year. I can't really tell you anything about it, which I think is unfortunate, but maybe you will like it, because I know a lot of people do. but I just did not. Next, I honestly think out of all of these, I think this is the #1 most disappointing book of 2020. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I grew up reading The Hunger Games. I remember reading those books in high school and going to watch the movies when they came out, and it was just so like, oh my gosh, like full circle event. Like I vividly remember that. And I just loved that book series. But this, no, I just did not need this. Granted, I read the book, The Hunger Games, in high school. So like maybe I should have like read this book and then read The Hunger Games again and see how I felt then. But no, like I don't care. I want to look at Goodreads and see what I read this in June. I think it came out in June. I gave it 3 stars. Average rating on Goodreads is 3.81 stars. And if you didn't know, this book is the prequel to the Hunger Games series. So, this was about President Snow as a child and when the Hunger Games began. And I just did not care. Like, honestly, like when I think of the Hunger Games, I literally had to think about who the heck Coriolanus, or what is his, how do you say it? Coriolanus, I don't know. The President Snow, like who he even was. Like, because if I'm thinking of like people that were directly connected to the Hunger Games that weren't players, like Katniss, Peeta, those people, I think of, oh man, I can't remember her name, but the lady that like wore all the butterflies and all that, Effie, is that her name? I don't know, but that lady. I don't think of President Snow, nor do I care about his childhood and the weird hunger, like there was just, and I know this is a dystopian series, so like I understand, like there's gonna be weird stuff that occurs, but like this book won. Okay, this is probably, oh no, how long is this book? 517 pages. In the grand scheme of connection to the Hunger Games books are short, like it's a series, there's 3 books. I don't need 517 pages of this. I just don't need this. No, if you enjoyed this, good for you. Maybe if I read it consecutively with the Hunger Games, I would feel differently, but there's no way that I will ever read this again, and no. No. It makes me mad because I don't understand. Like, if the Hunger Games had just come out and Suzanne Collins was like, oh, I should write a prequel, and this is before the Hunger Games had ever occurred, and whatever, then okay. But like, if the Hunger Games came out when I was in high school, like I know that was like sophomore year when I went and watched the movie, so the books would have had to come out before that, maybe even in middle school. That's been like almost 8 years. If just say freshman year, that's been 8 years. I don't need that now. I don't know, that's just, it just fires me up and I just don't like it. But anyway, so that was 100% the most disappointing book of 2020. Okay, we can move on. I'm getting out of control. Okay, the next book is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. One, I love this cover. Like, it's beautiful. Love it. But in correlation to those books, this one I didn't hate as much, but I just felt like everybody was giving this 5 stars. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so good. And partially, it probably is connected to why I didn't enjoy this book, because apparently I was in a reading slump at this point in time. And yet again, the moment that everybody's giving a book 5 stars, I'm just like, apparently in my head, I'm like, oh, well, I just can't like that much. So I gave it 4 stars. The average rating on Goodreads is 4.28. And it was the Goodreads Choice 2020 winner. It was a winner of an award on Goodreads. So, you know, lots of people liked it. I didn't hate it. Okay, let's just start with that. I didn't hate it, but I know I talked about it, that there was just so much. Sorry, I'm having to reference my phone because it's just been, a lot has happened this year, obviously, so like my brain can't remember everything. There was just a lot that happened in this book, and I didn't like, I think my biggest issue with this book is I didn't like the, like, there were different parts. Let me start at part 1. So there were different parts, chapters in the parts, but each chapter was like a different perspective. So versus naming, like, okay, so part 1 is Lost Twins, 1968. And then part 2, okay, part 2, Maps, 1978. So that's 10 years later, but every chapter was of a different, point of view. I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Was from a different point of view. So I felt like it was kind of difficult to like keep track of, oh, we're in this time period and then we're moved to the future and this has happened, but then we're still making connections to what happened in the beginning of the book. And then there was a lot of characters to keep up with, I thought. I mean, granted, for people that read like fantasy books, there's like thousands of characters, it seems like. So in the grand scheme of things, it probably didn't have that many characters. But I don't know, like, I didn't love it. I thought that the idea, I thought it would be more interesting than it was, because I thought the idea of twins, one of them acting as a white woman and one acting as the African American woman that she is, I don't know how I feel about that. I think that's interesting, and I thought, since I did think that that concept was interesting, that I would enjoy this more. But it just kind of fell flat for me. Like, a lot of people liked it. Check it out if you want to, but it kind of fell flat. Okay, my camera just overheated, so hopefully I can finish this video. But I am going to talk about the last book of 2020 that was disappointing to me, and that is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. Or Foley, I've heard people, it looks like Foley to me, but I've heard people say Foley, so I don't know. I didn't hate this. I did give it 4 stars. I was just looking, and in my Instagram post, I talked about that I liked it. I didn't hate it. My issue, I think, with books that are disappointing is, one, they've been overhyped, and I just feel like I should have no second thoughts. That should be perfect. The writing should be perfect. I should love all elements of the plot. I should love it. It should be 5 stars. And a lot of the times that doesn't happen. But there's also 2 other factors that I don't know why. One, annoying characters. If I can't get along with the characters and they're just absolutely driving me insane, then I don't like it. Like, it normally takes a star off for me. I'm just, And that's one thing I found with this. There are a lot of characters to keep up with, and a lot of them really get on my nerves. And then there's also, I don't know what, this is just interesting to me because I've noticed in a lot of books that I have gotten this year that they are written, I don't know if the author is from the UK, England, Europe, those types of places, or it's just written to be in that setting. But when they when they write like with the accent, I don't know why, that just gets on my nerves. I just don't know why. Like, specifically if they're British, like, I don't know what that is, but it just gets on my nerves. And I'm sorry if you are British. It's nothing to you. I just don't like reading it. Like, I don't know. It just bothers me. But anyway, so I think that I don't exactly know where these people were from, but that accent situation was present in this book. This is a thriller, and I just feel like, okay, you were going, so like it starts out now the wedding night, and then, I read this summer, and then the chapters are people, so different perspectives of what's going on, which I like that idea. But when there are a lot of characters, that's very difficult to keep up with, of like who's who, are they telling the truth, like are they a reliable narrator, that kind of thing, which I do enjoy. But I think this book was just too slow. For a thriller, I want it to be like, I need to turn the page to find out what's happening, because I know the minute I turn the page, a twist is going to happen, and I'm going to be like, what just happened? I don't know. This is not that. I got it a little bit at the end when we were getting ready to find out what was happening. The ending just... I don't know. Honestly, like, I didn't really like the setting to begin with. They're on this island, they're Ireland, off the coast of Ireland. I don't know. I just didn't love it. Like, yet again, the characters just, like, do we really have to be that extra? Like, some of them, I'm just like, oh my Lord, like, you're a bit much. Like, please calm down. Definitely just, it wasn't bad. I gave it 4 stars, so it's pretty good. But it definitely could have been more fast-paced and just not as annoying to me as it was. Like, I think if it had a different, if this book, the guest list, was like a normal wedding, like, because I can appreciate that we're like, you know, it's rainy, it's like gloom, like, you know, kind of creepy, like giving that ambiance. Like, I appreciate that. But like, couldn't we like have a wedding set with like normal people, like not like rich people? I don't know. I just feel like I would have changed a lot of this book. So, I didn't love it. But for sure, the Suzanne Collins prequel to The Hunger Games was definitely 100% the most disappointing book of 2020. And if you haven't read it, I kind of want you to read it just so you can tell me what you think. So, that is all for today's video. Please let me know what books you read in 2020 that were disappointing to you, and let me know why, because I might want to read them just to see if they're disappointing to me, because that's how I am. The next video I should have is it should be my best books of 2020, and then my year-end wrap-up of everything that I've read this year. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you guys in my next one. Bye!